This area here on the left, as I hover over it, it should give me that little tooltip that says styling. And we can call this the global styling area. We looked at it previously. Let's understand exactly the two parts here. One is the global colors, and the second part is the global typography. Select it, and then let's focus just quickly again on this current style setting up here, which is the global styling for the theme we had imported earlier from the layouts. The takeaway here is that you can clearly see that the colors from this color palette is representative of the colors on this page that we had brought in. That is the color theme or the color scheme or color palette that is used for this page and this website layout. But as I had shown you in the previous video, when we worked through all those free elements, when I brought them onto the page, you will see that many of them who have color brings in the color automatically from this color palette. So these are preset styles to certain elements that are brought in. And I've brought in those including the button, icon box, counter, as well as the progress bar, and then text, and how they are affected by the color palette. Let's select another color palette here from the current styles, and I think we just go to the default one, which is connected to Kit 2 blocks in the block library called Overpass. And I select that, and you will see how the color as well as the fonts update in real time. The challenge I have for you here is which of these 8 colors are connected to the button and the icon, as well as the counter and the progress bar. I think in this case it should be very easy, but let's choose another style. And we just choose the next one, magazine. And graceful. Let's go for ashen. And one more, oblivion. And with oblivion, I think it becomes very apparent that it's the third swatch from the left, this one, that determines the default color of the buttons and the icons and some other elements. Naturally, if you bring in a layout like we did with the practice, and let's set it back to the practice, and it always loads at the bottom of the current style selector. You may be very happy with the color scheme that they've brought in. It could also be that you want to change the color scheme. That can be done very, very easily. But before that, I want to give you a warning that there is no reset button here. You can go ahead and change the colors out. But if you then later on decide that you want to go back to the default colors for the practice, you won't be able to do so. Even if you go load the layout for the practice, this one is forever and ever changed. So take that into consideration before you just start making changes. Think carefully about it because there is no reset button. There are in total 3 swatches here that determine default colors. The first one is going to be the one for the text. This text, if you select it, and you get the options toolbar that pops up and you select colors, you will see that the second swatch from the right is selected by default. And that will always determine the text that is brought in by default. I don't want to mess up the styling for the practice. I think I just want to leave that. What I'm going to do is from the current style, select something else. Let's go to Samurai. And what I will do now is show you how you can change it out. Let's just go back to styling. And we identified that this second swatch from the right is the color for any default paragraph text that is brought in. I select it, and I'm going to just drag this selector around. And you will see that the color of the text changes. Not only on these default elements that I've brought in, but you can see it also updates all over on this page. And it looks really bad. But this is very visual and very self-explanatory as to how this swatch works. The second swatch that comes in my default, we've identified as this third one from the left. This is going to affect the buttons and the icons, the counters, and any other element that brings in color by default. I select it, and let's just change the use slider over here to the over here, something pink. And again, you can see how it updates all over very easily. Now this is updating all over your entire website. Not only this page, this is global styling. And those are the two default colors set with the global colors. The rest are up to you to decide which colors you want to add there. And that will all be dependent on your color theme. You can change them out the way you like. And you can see if we look at this page that had been created, that here they have that light bronze color. That is going to be this one all the way to the left. This is a random color, nothing special to it. It is one that you can go ahead and change. And this way you can move through all these colors and set up the scheme you want. Also important to note, when you look at this color picker, select, let's choose this one all the way to the right. Let's change the color. Nothing changes. No, we have a few areas where it has changed to a darker, I think almost black. Yes, it is black. Is that you also have here in the bottom left-hand corner of the color picker, an area where you can add the hex code. If you're not sure what a hex code is, that is basically the name of a color. All the colors that you can see on your screen has a name. It's a 6 code. The easiest way for me to show you a little bit about that is to take you to another website called coolors.co, C-O-O-L-O-R-S.co. And there are many sites like this online that you can use. Let's accept all the cookies. And what Coolors does is it helps you to generate themes, color palettes that you can use. Very, very inspirational if you don't know what to do for your next website or even any other project you are working on. Click here on this Start the Generator and we'll take you to where you can begin to play around with themes. And all you need to do here is actually press the spacebar to generate color palettes. So on your keyboard, hit spacebar and it will randomly, or maybe through an algorithm, create for you a color theme. And actually, I like this kind of color theme. You throw me orange with a little bit of mute colors in there, you've got me hooked. And what you will note is that for each of these colors, Coolors has given it a name, and that is this code down here. Let's press spacebar again, and I'll keep pressing it to get to something really funky. I think this is funky enough. And then what I'll do is simply click here on this name, select color, and you will see that over there the color also appears. Similar color picker, use slider, as to what we had seen previously in Brizy. I click here on this one that says copy the color. So that color code has been copied and we call it the hex code, H-E-X. Go back to Brizy and then with this selected, I'll just Control Command V, paste the color and you can see it updates there. Not a good color for that background, but in general, this is not a good color scheme. And this method allows you to bring in any color that you've seen somewhere else and you want to use. There are many ways to get the names of colors. You'll see actually here at the bottom, it's called Satin Sheen Gold. I sometimes love just coming here to Coolors and checking out the names of the colors that I'm using. It just gives me something a little bit more tangible to work with. Let's go back into Brizy and now you've learned all about the color picker. This you set up once and then it is there to use throughout your site. Why you would maybe want to work through all of these color styles is that you may not be 100% sure which color style you want to use. So you set up one and then like, yeah, I'm not so sure. Let me try another one. So let's say we go to something like chubby. Now we have locked in chubby. I actually like this color scheme a lot for this kind of website as well. And this allows you to go back to the styling, change out colors, set up a second color palette, and that you can now have different versions, especially if you're working with a friend or a customer that you're making a website for and you want to display different versions for them so that they can choose, you know, A/B kind of testing, then this is the ideal way of doing it. That's it. I think one thing I will point out to you is, of course, that color picker appears all over where you can work with color. If I select this text here, you know that we have colors within the options toolbar and everything appears here, plus our fixed global colors appear here at the bottom. And if you select this little cog on the right, you're going to see that the global colors pop up here. Note though that you still have the ability to override this color. If I select colors and I change the color, let's put it somewhere there on pink and make it quite bright so we can see it better. Now you have made this a custom color. If I select it again, you will see none of the swatches are selected down here. If I go to global colors and I change and I select something else, in this case magazine, everything that is connected to a global color will change except this one because we've overridden it. So you only have 8 slots, which is more than enough to set up your global colors. But be aware that if you do go and make a custom color change and later on you make changes to the global colors, it will not affect that specific area. It's easy to bring it back into the fold, and that is by simply selecting the swatch again when it is selected, and voila, it is back. Last thing I will say about the global colors, personal little point here. Brizy was one of the first, together with others as well, to bring in this ability to set global colors so that you can change them if you feel you've made a mistake to colors. Before that, you had to literally go and change each and every color individually everywhere on your page and every page, which could be really annoying if you had a load of pages. So this thing really sped it up. But I feel it's kind of become long in the tooth and that it needs a serious update. For example, I've now set this on magazine. I want to make a second version of this magazine theme. But what I would like to do is just copy this magazine to a second style so that I can just make a few changes so I can do that A/B testing. No way I can do it. Second thing I complained about, there's no reset button. Third one, there is no option for me to create a new one. I cannot override any of these in terms of their naming. I cannot create a new one and add my own name. This is pretty annoying to me because I think this color picker was there from the very beginning when Brizy came onto the scene, and I really wish it had gotten an overhaul in the meantime, because there are many other software apps on the market that can do a much better job at the moment on this than what this one does. It's still super powerful, but it would also be great if you can have different selectors. So I can have one set here, a second set, and a third set. Sometimes you have one set of colors. For another page, you will use another one. And for another section like your blog, you may use a third set. And then you can assign each of them to different areas on your website.